And I think, like you said, technology is everywhere. Whether you're in the sports, whether you're in the medical field, a lot of people think, oh no, I'm not gonna need technology. You're definitely gonna need technology. Just like you need to know how to read, you need to know how to count money. You need to know how to use technology. So that's what we want to kind of sprinkle these seeds and help them grow throughout the community for people who wouldn't necessarily have, like I said, have access to that. So. Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Nashlie Sephus, and I'm here to share a few chapters of my life with a humble soul. So all throughout, like even Mississippi State, so I got my bachelor's there, and I got my master's and PhD at Georgia Tech. Um, it's the engineering field is pretty dominated by males. Actually, my team at Amazon is majority of Asian males. Um, I think the numbers of like 3% of African American women in engineering fields across the country. And so I definitely see that and notice that. I'm only black female. I could probably count on my hands how many I know at Amazon. It's a 50,000 people company, especially like managers, as such as myself. And so I guess you could say it's a bit of a challenge. You try to take it in stride, and when I say that, I mean not everybody knows about diversity and inclusion and what we call microaggressions, for example. I always say, give the example when someone says, "Oh, she's so articulate," and how that makes someone feel when imagine you're 33, you have a PhD, and someone tells you, "Oh, you're so articulate." Like, why wouldn't I be? So there's little things like that a lot of people still don't really know about because they never had to deal with it, and it's not really about whether your intentions are good or not. These things still hurt. So I was basically a grad student at Georgia Tech, and I was getting ready to actually within 2 years of finishing up my dissertation. So if you've been a grad student before, like you're just trying to finish, and anybody that comes to you trying to get you to work on something, you're just like, okay, leave me alone, I need to finish. And so, but this time it was a black female, and her name was Jewel Burks. And so someone introduced her to me. Actually, it was a colleague of mine, Troy Nunnally. And so he introduced her to me and said, "Hey, we need somebody who has your expertise," which at that time I was working on machine learning or deep learning. A lot of people know it as artificial intelligence or AI now. It's basically trying to get a computer to think and act like a human. And so at this time, they needed someone to work on image recognition or computer vision. And so her idea was she had been working at a parts company where people would call in. She didn't have a technical background. She was more in business and marketing. But she was a manager working in customer service. People would call in asking for a part, and she would try to get them to describe the part. And of course, the part was really difficult. Say, "Hey, it's black, it's a thingamabob or a doohickey, and it's curvy on this side. Can you help me find it?" And so, of course, she can't help them find it. And so she says, "Hey, why don't you take a picture and send it to me?" And then she had the idea, what if we could automatically recognize the part in the picture? And so that's where my field and expertise came in. When you talk about machine learning, deep learning, I also worked on speech recognition at the time and speaker recognition. If you ever use Siri or Alexa when you're actually talking to it, those are the type of technologies that I worked on in grad school. And so, similar technologies. And so the same type of rules apply to image and videos and recognizing things in images, the same way you recognize things in sound and audio. I was able to help build a prototype where she was able to raise $1.5 million with that. And so during this time, I had graduated and taken a full-time position in New York City. I worked there for about a year at a consulting firm called Exponent. And so she calls back and said, "Hey, we need a CTO, need you to come back." And so at the time, I thought it was pretty good. It was very cold in New York, and I'm from the South, so I was like, okay, I think I can make this switch back to Atlanta. So I came back to Atlanta, became CTO of Partpic. Jewel actually encouraged me to go to do the conference, because at the time I was, we were so busy with work and trying to get things and trying to get products out the door. And so she said, no, I think you should do this. I said, okay. So I went and did it. It was a conference called Rework in Boston. It was a computer vision conference for startups in the computer vision space. And so as soon as I came off the stage, a guy from Amazon approached me, and he said, hey, we're really interested in what you're doing from Amazon. Do you have a card? Maybe we could talk some more. And so from that point on, I gave him my card, and he contacted us back. We had some back and forth. Their team came out to visit us a few times, and they pretty much had to vet the technology. So basically, do a lot of experiments, show them how it worked, make sure that it did what we said it was supposed to do. And after that, it was back in late 2016, we were acquired by Amazon. When you think about it, it's really something that's unheard of. Like, never has there been a black tech startup to get acquired by Amazon, and so it is kind of a big deal. People are just now hearing about it. A lot of people still don't even know. So that's try to do things like this all the time and try to share the story in order to encourage somebody, to pursue the same thing. So I think when I do actually have time to think and reflect, I just think about, wow, how many decisions that were made to put me where I'm supposed to be. I call it God's plan, and because everything just sort of lined up. I didn't know I was going to go into computer engineering until my science teacher told me about it, and I didn't know I was going to major, in this particular field that would blow up. Artificial intelligence is so huge right now. I didn't know that this particular route would take me here. I didn't know Jewel would ask somebody who would introduce her to me to start a company. Who would have thought any of this would have happened? And by the way, we weren't trying to sell the company Partpic. The guy just happened to walk up to me when I got off stage presenting. So all these coincidences, like, it had to have been, somebody higher power at work. And so I just say, thank you. I thank God for it. I thank Jesus. And so I think about that, and I also think about how can we inspire other people to, just know what's possible. And I think one of the reasons why I do a lot of what I do with my nonprofit is to just show people, especially coming from Jackson, that these things are possible. I came from, you say humble beginnings, mother, grandmother, my sister. I didn't live with my dad, but I have community, still have a relationship with him now. And so it's just one of those things where, the possibilities are endless. And, the more people that, how can you be what you can't see, right? So I try to make sure that I stay out in the open and tell people about what happened. And so I think the biggest reason why I started the Bean Path, because I noticed there was a gap between the communities and people in the community and technology. People don't know how easily accessible technology is. I think of technology as like money, like liquid money. Money's hard to come by, but technology and learning how to use technology really isn't that hard to come by. So by sitting down one-on-one with people, also putting on workshops throughout the community about, how do I use my computer? What's the best cell phone to buy? Or, hey, I got an idea for a tech startup myself and I need to talk to somebody. A lot of people think, who am I to start a startup? I'm nobody. You're actually the best person to solve the problems that you're dealing with every day. I definitely started the Bean Path thinking that, again, like, technology can open up eyes and really can change situations for people. And I think in particular, Mississippi has a few challenges, such as, I always wanted to go back to Mississippi and kind of pour into what I learned. A lot of people, they leave Mississippi as in, oh, I'm so glad I got out, but I always say, you're kind of part of the problem if you're not part of the solution. So when people think about bean, they think about like a seed that grows and sprouts into something. Bean is actually also a technical programming word in the computer programming language. And so when you think about the bean path, I think about cultivating to sprout, determine your route. So helping people get to where they need to be with technology. And so we just set up tech office hours in the local libraries in Jackson, Mississippi. That's where we're based. That's where we're headquartered right now. Eventually, we'd love to see the program grow throughout Mississippi and places like Mississippi. Maybe even Atlanta and some of the other areas that could use some of this type of programming, and exposing youth to things like technology in these fields as early as possible is the key to changing our future as well. That's a good one. So success, actually, I don't think it has anything to do with how much money you have or where you work, or what you've accomplished, I guess, and sort of speak. But I think it's more so about the feeling that you have when you get up every day. Like, you're excited to go to work. Are you enjoying and loving what you do every day? Are you making a difference? And so I think that's what I would define as success. Because at the end of the day, you're doing all these things, but why are you doing it? You got to know the why. You got to know your purpose. And if you don't have that, then I think that essentially takes all the fun, all the oomph out of what you're doing. And I wouldn't call that success necessarily if your heart's not in it. Right. So I always say, find really great mentors. I wouldn't be where I am today without mentors, and mentors at every single level, from grade school up to undergrad to graduate school. Even in the workplace, I still have mentors. Here at Amazon, I have mentors for my nonprofit. You need to find somebody who's where you want to be already, so that you can talk to them about how they got there, so you won't have to make so many mistakes, the same mistakes that they made at least. And so I always say find good mentors, and I always say have a good support system. My family, I love my family, and they're very supportive of me and what I do. They may not know what I do exactly, even though I try to explain it to them, but they just know that I'm happy, and they're here for me whenever I need them. So I definitely would say find a good support system. No one can do it on their own.